Hello and welcome to Realms Edge Gaming. In this episode we're going to take a look at the White Dwarf issue 464. So on the front cover we've got a really nice kind of Soulblight Gravelords kind of spread, and on the back we've got none other than a certain Manfred von Carstein, which looks absolutely fantastic. I have to say though, I think the alternative front cover for the White Dwarf that's kind of sold on the shop stands actually looks brilliant too. So I think there's definitely two kind of great pieces of artwork there. The introduction here talks about how there's going to be a lot more kind of card inserts. If you watched the previous video that we did, it said about there was the War Scrolls for Tanax, and it was the Keeper of Secrets, and also the Corn Demon 2 that you got as the inserts. And they were basically saying here that there's going to be a lot more of those, in future kind of issues of White Dwarf. So that was kind of a nice touch, and we'll definitely add something a little bit different to the games. On our contents, we've got the variety of things. We've got the Warhammer 40,000 flashpoints. We've got the Age of Sigmar flashpoints as well. We've got a little bit of Lord of the Rings too, and then our kind of usual things that we've come to expect from White Dwarf. Got some really nice kind of painted up Adeptus Custodes there. I actually really like the kind of brass colours along with the kind of vibrant pink tops. They look really good. We've got some Zarbag's Gits there, and we've got some kind of paint schemes for how to paint up the Ravaged Lands there for Warcry, and a kind of striking coloration. Again, in our contact, I really like this question. So we've got a question to Grombrindle, and basically someone is saying, "O mighty sage, by your lustrous beard, I beg of you to answer this humble petitioner's question. In the mortal realms, what do people drink now that Bugman's is a legendary memory? Has a new brewer arisen? Has Sigmar shoved Joseph into a golden suit, just so he can quaff in the halls of Azir?" And Grombrindle goes on to mention Bugman. There's Jacob Bugmanson the 11th, and also goes on to mention that arguably there's a little tavern in the Spiral Crux that brewed a particularly fine ale called the Bearded Special. I've heard that the tavern is sadly no longer there, but the proprietress is planning on setting up somewhere less hostile. I look forward to seeing what she brews up. So if you're following our Chronicles of the Wanderer series, you will know that Old Whitebeard's Special, I believe was the second story we looked at, is actually what Grombrindle is talking about there. So again, a further hint that we will see some Dispossessed coming in the not too distant future. Again, some really nice kind of painted miniatures, some letters as well. And then we get onto the Worlds of Warhammer with Phil Kelly. And in this article, what they're doing is they're talking about global campaigns and how that they've helped to shape the Warhammer universe. So they mention Armageddon 3. I remember when I was younger, it came out in 2000, I believe, and it was all about Commissar Yarrick and Ghazghkull. I remember reading that when it came out originally. It's got about Albion as well, if you're more into kind of Warhammer fantasy, Age of Sigmar. And all in all, it's a really interesting article. Then we move on to Warhammer 40,000, and it says, "In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. In this issue, the fallen come under scrutiny." So I remember at the end of the last White Dwarf that we did, I wasn't too sure what the fallen were or was. And in this article, it kind of gives us a little bit kind of information on that. In a galaxy sundered by an eternity of battle, 4 mighty warlords are assembling their armies. Will they defend the Imperium of mankind, or do they seek to crush it? In the third part of the series, the warlords' forces reach the 50 power mark. And we've got Space Marines, Necrons, Sisters of Battle, and Orcs too. Some nice colour schemes down there if you want to be able to follow those. Really like the Necrons with the kind of electric blue and the grey and the steel They look really cool. The Thocht dynasty. Got some Sisters of Battle. And the Goths. So this is kind of continuing from last issue, the Metallica system. It says the galaxy has been torn asunder, new war zones exploding into life with ever-increasing frequency. In the 5th part of the Flashpoint series, the worlds of the Metallican system come under attack from Typhus's plague fleet. Some really nice kind of stories to go alongside this, along with some cracking artwork as well. I think that's something that Games Workshop always do so well, is the kind of artwork alongside the story to further illustrate their points. Here we've got some kind of additional rules. The Sharadon sector has come under attack, plunging many worlds into anarchy and disorder. As the war intensifies, the cluster of worlds around the Forge world of Metallica come under attack. So again, some additional rules to add a bit of flavour to your gaming systems. Metallica battle traits. Then we've got Index Hereticus, where we learn about the Fallen. And it's basically saying that once loyal warriors of the Dark Angels Legion, these heretic Astartes are a dark stain on the honour of their parent chapter, one that cannot be easily erased. Again, I've kind of said I'm not really a 40k player. Kind of a basic understanding of the lore, but if you're into your kind of Dark Angels and this kind of thing, I'm sure you won't be disappointed. We've got some stratagems, some conversion guides too, if you want to kind of convert the Fallen and make some your own. There's some guides here to do so. Some really nice freehand designs on these models as well, on the top there, and on the next page with the shields. Sorry, yep, on the next page with the shields, there we go. Some really nice kind of freehand details. You know, and I think it's one of those where even if you don't collect the army or play that gaming system, there's always some kind of inspiration that you can take at the kind of minimum. A nice kind of paint guide there. Looks relatively simple to follow. And then they go into a little bit more detail if you want to kind of go to the next stage. And as they say, kind of parade ready. And then we've got Faith Under Fire. So again, another kind of article that we looked at last week, where they were kind of Golden Demon winners, and they were invited to take part in a unique painting challenge. And some of these are absolutely fantastic. Again, as I said kind of before, even if you don't play that gaming system, you know, there's always something to kind of inspire you or impress you. Some really nice object source lighting there. And, you know, I can only imagine the amount of time that's gone into painting these miniatures. Here's what they were talking about at the start of the issue regarding the cardboard cutouts. So we've got some nice stratagems there. And then a few more kind of really nicely painted miniatures. Love the purple there. And the basing there is really, really cleverly done too. I like this one as well because they've kind of got some night haunts on there. I think you can see it probably a bit better there with the kind of fiery embers as they go off to the Sisters of Battle. There we go. There we go, and there's the winner. Before we move on to our Age of Sigmar. So here we're going to explore the Flashpoint series in a little bit more depth, and I believe that this will kind of lead on into, you know, our next kind of Broken Realms narrative chapter. We also have a battle report for the relatively newly released Soulblight Gravelords, and also the Lumineth. So the bell tolls for these. It kind of reminds me of the previous article when we had about the Metallica system. So we've now got the bells tolling. So here we've got the elven army from the great nations of Zytrek being caught infiltrating the realm of death. Though the Lumineth established a beachhead, part of their force is now cut off, Can they survive the horrors of the night, or will they soon join the ranks of the undead? And again, got some really nice kind of narrative story there to go alongside the battle report, where we've got the Nightmare Legion of around 2,000 points facing off against the Numinous host. I really like that paint scheme as well, with the kind of bronze and the purpley pinks. Looks great. So I will kind of skate over this. I would not like to kind of spoil it for you guys and tell you what happens, but it is a really interesting report, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. There we go. So I'll skip over that. So we've got rules of engagement now, where the Age of Sigmar games developers revisit the rules for a kind of old battle plan that they had back in 1985, so a good few years ago. But it involves the Skaven and a garrison kind of trying to defend themselves against the Skaven, and the battle's called the Battle of Gore Pass. For those of you that are old enough to kind of remember it, or you might be familiar with it, I'll be honest with you, I am not familiar with that one. Next, we go on to the Anvil of Blood, and this allows us to kind of tailor our vampires or necromancers and make them a little bit more kind of personalised, add a little bit more detail to them if we so desire. And there's a whole host of range, command abilities, spells, bestial companions, mounts that we can choose, characteristic enhancements, abilities, absolutely loads. So definitely something there for the Soulblight Gravelord player. Next, we've got a bit of narrative, a short story about Neferata, and it kind of ties in with our Broken Realm series and how things are playing out for her at the moment. Teclis making an appearance. And then we come on to the Realm of the Horned Rat. So it says, Realms of Chaos is exploring how you can build and paint models to show what realm they come from. This month we delve deep into Blight City to take a close look at the domain of the Horned Rat and his devious servants, the insidious Skaven. So some really nice kind of paint guides there as well. I am hoping that we will see an update to the Skaven range. In particular, I really do like Clan Eshin, and I have to be honest with you guys, I really thought we would in the Be'lakor book. I think I've spoken about it briefly before, but in the lead up to the Be'lakor book release, we had a kind of short bit of kind of fiction or narrative. It was called, I think, a Dark Pact or something like that, and it was how Be'lakor employed a Clan Eshin assassin, or a group of them. And I kind of thought that would herald the updated battalions, updated rules in the Be'lakor book for Skaven, but unfortunately it didn't. So here we go, we've got some nice paint schemes there. Some really nice looking models. Screaming Bell. And then on to Glory Points, where it says all about Warhammer Underworlds, curated by the game's developers. In this article, they delve into the development of the game, plus rules, tactics, and gameplay. This month, Grand Avatars. Again, not really a gaming system I'm particularly familiar with, so we'll move on to the Cursed City, and I think this might be a bit of a sore point to definitely some people at least, and I guess myself included. I was one of the ones that didn't pick up the box set, unfortunately, but this issue kind of delves into a little bit of the heroes and goes into some of the depth of them, and I'm really hoping that at some point these guys will be available to purchase separately. It looks like they're doing the same for the kind of anti-heroes at the moment, so hopefully we'll get some of the good guys too. Got some rules there and the models, and a little bit about the characters as well. A bit of the backstory, bit of the history. Some nice artwork. Again, I don't know the ins and outs of the whole thing with Cursed City. I don't think anyone does, if I'm honest. And I'm not sure whether we will know in the future either. But hopefully something good will come of it anyway. We've got war on all sides now with Middle-earth. In this issue, friend of Middle-earth team and all-round Hobbit fan, Sam Jeffrey presents a way to play the Middle-earth strategy game with 3 players, including a new 3-player scenario. It's good versus evil versus good and or evil. So there we go. And there's a scenario there for you guys to try. Next, we move on to our Chronicles of the Wanderer. And I must say, I think we're kind of getting towards the kind of final couple of stories now. And this one's titled Graveyard of Legends. Briefly read it, but I'm looking forward to going in depth with you guys. But it basically says, Aharmentia is a land of fire, heat, and endless deserts, also plagued by unquiet spirits, and the death mage Dethrin Mardwid is determined to find out why. Accompanied by 2 unlikely comrades, he soon finds his expedition joined by a 3rd mysterious adventurer. And as a bit of a disclaimer, this includes Gotrek. So, if you are looking forward to the Graveyard of Legends being kind of told and going into a bit more depth, stay tuned over the next couple of weeks or so, and we'll read that one. And we'll talk about what the story's about. But I have to say, I, for one, am really enjoying doing those with you guys. Takes a while because, as you can see, the stories are quite long. You know what, guys? We'll get through them. Here we go. It says here, the saga of our mysterious Dwarden hero concludes with part 6 of Chronicles of the Wanderer, in the next issue of White Dwarf. So next month is our final issue. I can't believe we've been going through these ones, but I've loved every minute of it. Next, we've got Inside the Studio, bit of hobby bingo, a new addition to the team. And here we go, finally, next month, apparently we're looking at the Sellswords of Excelsis. So this tells us that it is more than likely that we have had Broken Realms Kragenos released to us, and we will be looking towards, I guess, the next instalment of Age of Sigmar, the 3rd edition. I, for one, am really looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll find out what this new race is that's been teased at the moment. Thank you so much for joining me. I've once again really enjoyed talking to you about the White Dwarf issue. If there's any particular part of the issue that you'd like me to kind of go into a bit more depth or talk about in the comments, more than happy to do so. But above all, just really pleased that you've joined me. If you've not subscribed to the channel, if you could do so, that would be brilliant. And if you could drop a like too, that would be much appreciated. Thanks for joining me, and looking forward to chatting with you all. Hopefully we'll speak soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.